In the prior problem, problem 9-22, we took the time to put together a balance sheet. Now the balance sheet contains vital information for the company and for any people that might be evaluating the company. However, sometimes the data needs a bit more analysis. This next problem, 9-23, helps us to learn to do some of that analysis. To do this problem correctly, you will need to have done problem 9-22. Since we've already done that, we'll use the balance sheet that we just finished. Under Requirement A, we are to use the information from the balance sheet to calculate ratios for the company. The two required ratios are the current ratio and the quick ratio. On pages F378 and 379, we see how these ratios are calculated. A current ratio is simply analysis which divides the current liabilities into the current assets. This will yield an answer which can be expressed either as a single decimal number, usually to 2 decimal places, or is sometimes expressed as that same number to 1. We'll see that as we do this ratio. Looking back at the balance sheet from the prior problem, we see that the current assets are $684,000. Looking again at the bottom of the same balance sheet, we see that the current liabilities are $366,600. By putting those two numbers into the format on the screen, we see that the answer to this problem is 1.87 or 1.87 to 1. The current ratio is a measure of liquidity. If the company had to close its doors, this ratio shows how much their easily liquidated assets would exceed the immediately due liabilities. Now this number doesn't always mean a whole lot by itself. One thing about ratio analysis is that the ratios usually need to be compared with the industry average for the industry in which the company operates. The textbook does a good job of explaining this. The quick ratio is a more rigorous examination of the liquidity of the company. The quick ratio limits what is included in the numerator of the ratio. Instead of being all the current assets, the numerator only includes cash, accounts receivable, and short-term investments. By using the quick ratio, there is a better picture of how much in the way of assets could be quickly liquidated. For this problem, the balance sheet shows cash of $124,200, accounts receivable of $212,000, and no short-term investments. That means the numerator is $336,200, and that is divided by $336,600. Therefore, the quick ratio comes up to 1, or 1 to 1. In other words, the easily liquidated assets would not quite cover the immediately due liabilities. Requirement B in the problem asks us to give our impression of the company's liquidity. I'm not going to give you an answer here because you need to have done the reading and understand what these ratios mean from that, and do your answer in your own words.